Welcome back to B&B Studios, where Berner and Barthy will talk all things happening in the Central Coast Rugby competition. Good chat, good footy, good fun. Take it away, boys.
Thanks, Tomo. Welcome, everybody, to the podcast. What are we up to now, Berner? Round 11 this week?
Round 11 this week, mate.
Yeah, round 10's just gone. Thought we'd change up the start of the podcast this week. How's your week been, pal?
Week's been good, mate. Some surprising results on the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which makes for a bit to talk about in this week's episode. How was your week?
Mate, my week was good. Very good. I enjoyed the wonderful sunshine that we've had again. The weather has been absolutely outstanding. Heading in for a bit of rain on the way, which doesn't look good for this weekend. And that'll lead me to an axe I've got to grind a little bit later on. So, mate, just remind me to power up the generators, and because I've got a big axe I want to grind.
You haven't been on your soapbox for a while,
No,
mate. This will be good.
It's the new me, mate.
Yeah.
Just chill out. Nothing bothers me anymore.
All right, well, let's get into the results of the round. Thanks to Gus and the team at Erina Podiatry.
Who do you want to start off with, mate? Men's or women's?
Kick it off with the men's because we've got the men's up here.
There we go. You like getting the men's up?
I love getting the men up. Let's get the three games were blowouts, one close one. So, unfortunately, let's start off with the first big blowout. There used to be a time like 2 years ago when we were just like every game was like within 7 points. Razorbacks 120, nil.
19 tries.
Absolute rout.
Mate, worrying. Look, in the feeding department, it's worrying times for Woy. 70-0 in second grade, and I reckon there's probably a good chance that the poor buggers have run out in second grade and run straight back on into first grade. Not good signs at all there for Woy at the moment. And we're only halfway through the season, so with any luck, they can drag people out of the woodwork and just get enough on the paddock each Saturday. Disappointing result, not just for Woy, but for the competition. But also congratulations to Razorbacks for putting their opposition to the sword. It's not their fault, but they've just got to do what they've got to do, and the Razorbacks come out with a big win. And it's a little bit of today's a little bit about personal milestones or accolades. And I'm just going to give a friend of the show, Lockie Peruke, a shout out, who's playing for the Razorbacks. Lockie scored 25 points, I believe, on the weekend for the Razorbacks. So well done, Lockie. I know there's a hell of a lot of tries were scored, and I think he scored maybe 3 and kicked a few goals. Knowing Lockie, he would have taken all the ones from in front too, wouldn't he?
Yeah, well, it's inconsistent with who's taken what.
So 100% Ryan Fanning, the super boot, he gets all the sideline ones. Yeah. And old Lockie, he would have gone off front. I'll just take this one, right?
You go back. You get some water, mate. You've had a big game.
100%. But well done, Razorbacks. Good result. Great for their for and against.
I think it is great for their for and against. They do need that. But the other thing is they kept on going. I don't know if Razorbacks in the past, I think that scored have been 80, which is still an absolute flogging.
Yeah.
But they would have taken the foot off the gas, whereas they haven't with this. And it was consistent. Like I was only watching it through the app, but it was consistent that every time went on every 2 minutes almost, it felt like it was another try, and it was consistent right to the end, which is pleasing sign to the Razorbacks as they got that killer instinct.
And that's the difficulty with those sort of games. I've had the luxury of playing in a few of them. I haven't really been flogged by that much. But the difficulty with those games too, it's hard to get into a rhythm because you go to take the ball in the contact, or someone goes to take the ball in the contact and runs 20 meters or 10 meters further than they normally would. And then that then means your shape at the tackle contest is falls apart a little bit, and then you sort of get people sort of trying a little bit harder than they should and going a bit further than they should, and in many ways that can break down a side because yardage is coming so easily. So I think it's probably a good sign that the Razorbacks there can sort of keep their shape well enough to score that many points. So it was a good outing for them after a big victory the week before. And
I think from Woy as well, it's a hard one because obviously it is a thrashing, and you had a lot of young people there who with a very limited experience playing rugby. But do you want 120 or do you want 28? I mean,
absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? So I think That is what we call a club day, which is when it's a great experience for all involved. And but that's obviously a shellacking.
Well,
I think the positive thing is that those same group of players are still turning up.
Yep.
They had a few of their, when I say more senior players, are still in their mid-20s, but they've at least had some first grade experience for 4 or so years.
Yeah.
They had a few of those guys out, which again doesn't change the scoreline too much. But you've got a lot of young kids who are there fronting up the first grade, and they'll be there again this week, regardless of the result.
Yeah.
And that's really crucial. If you want to build up a club again, you have to have that core nucleus of players of 15, 20 players, that if you're going to attract more, than you go into training and there's going to be 20 players there. You just need that in the club. So obviously, tough times forward, but that's clinical from Razorbacks, and that's really special. Next game, mate.
Yeah, what was it?
The Wildcats win 50 points to 15 over Lake Macquarie. Huge day for the Wildcats, their ladies' day as well. I was down there about 10 o'clock to watch mate's young boy run around, and I had everything set up, all the players down there. It's a really good atmosphere at the moment at Warrnambool. Even my partner, who was down there, she's like, this just looks like an awesome club now.
Yeah.
And she's never thought that. She's never felt that way about Warrnambool when she's watched in the past. And she's like, this just looks amazing. That was at 10 o'clock in the morning, so I can't imagine what it would have been like in the Arvo. So, what Warrnambool's doing is awesome.
They get especially the women's and the men's too, for that matter. But just a quick shout out to the women's, because it was Ladies' Day. They do some awesome things on their socials, tag us in and keep us informed of what's going on. Look, for avid listeners of the podcast, you'll know that I've just been analysing the statistical data coming in from the Lake Macquarie side, and I've been warning for quite a while now that the improve is on. 50 points to 15 is their best result of the year so far, and like I said, they'll be in the top 4 in the next 2 to 3 weeks on the statistical growth. So well done to Lake, scoring a few tries. A late flutter to Lake Macquarie Roos, scoring in the end, but they're on the up now.
They
Look
out. This turned out to be a blowout in the end, but it was a lot tighter than this. Avoca Beach 57, Lakes 19. What'd you make of this?
Yeah, but the Avoca side sort of had a few players moved around a little bit. Some players weren't available. A friend of the show, Mitchy Briggs, was playing out in the wing, and they just shuffled the decks a little bit. And yeah, it was very close at half time. I think it was it might have been 24-7 or something along those lines. It was a tight contest, and Sam Evans, the 5'8", who's in a bit of a purple patch for the Avoca Beach side, scoring 27 points, really guiding that side around.
Hat trick as well.
Yeah, he's playing some good rugby at the moment. But yeah, I thought Avoca would win. I didn't think they'd win by that much. So it's good signs for the Sharks. But I also want to give a quick shout out. Now, this, if you were to know the guy, and I won't name him, a guy I know from the area. And disgustingly, he has one green eye, one, I guess, blue eye, and he's got 3 eyes because he's from that part of the world, and the third eye is bloody gold. Should see the doctor about that. But anyway, he gave Hutchinson Walters a massive rap. He said that player is absolutely outstanding.
He's a weapon.
And basically said he was basically going just through at will the Sharks back line. And obviously just didn't have the guy to back up and runners. But yeah, big shout out. He just said he was one of the best footballers he's seen. He said he reckons he was close to the best player on the paddock.
Yeah.
So big shout outs for them.
And he's got so much time as well.
Yeah.
He played seconds a few weeks ago when we played against Lakes. And he's just got so much time. You just watch him and you just, one of those moments, but surely you're passing this.
Yeah.
And just glides through.
Yeah.
And then just puts another jersey on and plays once.
Well, with any luck, you'll get a few more troops to start following a little bit more and find the suppliers and we'll get into some open space. So yeah, Lakes 15 points going down to Avoca Beach 57.
19. 57-19.
Was it 19?
Minor details, mate. Minor details.
There you go.
Last game, we wouldn't be surprised if there was an upset, and it was close, but it just wasn't an upset. Gosford get the win, 25 points to 17. They hold off Hornsby. What'd you make of this, mate? 4 tries to 2.
Yeah, mate. I
probably what we thought the game was going to be. There was a sniff of an upset if Hornsby really wanted it. They got out to an early lead, and Gosford just too good.
Yeah, they got a lot of experience, Gosford, and they've got some good quality around the park, and I think they're still gelling as a side. And we've spoken quite a bit about how hot and cold Hornsby are. And I think the Hornsby needed to bring their best performance to knock Gossett off. They might have been close to it by the tightness of the match. But yeah, Gossett at home, they're proving to be a difficult team to knock off. So good win by the Red Devils, and it will bring into pushes them up closer to securing sort of one of those top 4 or 5 positions. I know we're still halfway through the season, but it was a critical match for them to get those points because the teams chasing them, one of those teams is Hornsby. So, really important victory for the Red Devils.
All right, let's go through the table. So everyone's played 9 games except for Terrigal, who've only played 8 games. Avoca are in first place on 39 points. The Razorbacks go to second on 36. Terrigal third on 35. Gosford fourth on 29. Warnervale fifth on 26. From there's a bit of a gap. Hornsby 6th on 14, Lake 7th on 12, Woy Woy 8th on 7th, and then Lake Macquarie 9th, and Duck Egg for them. So the top 5 are there. There's currently 12 points between 6th and 5th. So remember, the top 5 are finals this year. So currently 12 points between Hornsby and Warnervale there. So that's sort of firming, shaping up. And really it's a fight for that between Avoca, Razorbacks, and Terrigal for that top spot. And then Gosford and Warnervale look like they're fighting for 4th and 5th. I know it's early days, but that's how the competition's shaping up. And it does feel that way in terms of the credibility of all the sides of who can beat who as well. It does feel like there is definitely sort of a top 3, Gosford, Warnervale, and then the rest.
I was going to say, don't write off Hornsby or the Lakes yet to sneak into that 5th position. They just need to string some consistent games and consistent performances together. Also got Warnervale. Once they get sort their discipline out as well, I think we could see a few sides. I think we could see probably maybe or potentially 5 teams fighting it out for 2 positions. So exciting times into the back end of the season.
All right, well, let's get on to the women's games. Let's start with the shellacking. Razorbacks 67, Woy Woy 0.
Yeah, it was not surprising. Razorbacks have been on fire of late.
Yep.
Playing some really good rugby and playing really enterprising rugby. You're starting to use the width and expanse of the game and scoring some fantastic tries. Shani Mason, we wrapped her last week.
Yep.
Scored 5 tries on the weekend, kicked 6 goals, 37 points she scored. So more, half the Razorbacks tally. But we also know that can't be done unless the people doing the hard work through the centre and everyone's sort of doing their bit. But big victory by the Razorbacks and well done.
Yep. And same story as always with Woy Woy for the last few weeks. Got a Scotty Edmonds wrote in, just said how impressed he was with the Woy Woy girls, and their numbers are growing each week. But again, just the quality is just not there at the moment. So that's probably the scoreline we saw coming.
Learning the game too.
They are, steep learning curve. Mate, the next one, a bit disappointing. I don't know what to read into it. Probably our own fault. We've written in a little bit too late to find out some details, but Terrigal win 28-0 via forfeit against Hornsby. And it's a Hornsby home game, but I think it was a Gossett, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But still 28-0. So a forfeit. Hornsby have forfeited.
Yeah, it's not good at all. We don't know why. I have absolutely no idea why that was the case and won't really hypothesize too much about it. But one thing I do know is there's 2 clubs now that are forfeited against the Trojan women, and which is extremely disappointing for them. But also too, it's about putting something in that's sustainable. So like I said, I've got no idea why the forfeit was. I'm not excited by it at all. I'm very concerned, and I'm a little bit concerned the fact that we're halfway through the season and it's happened. Look, it might have been someone could have got married. Who knows? It might have been one of those things. But bloody hell, if you can't scratch together 8 or 9 players to go and when you're competing to try and make the top 4, I think we've got some worrying signs there. So hopefully, I did send the Hornsby women a belated message to get a hold of us so we can sort of hopefully talk some truths instead of hypothesizing. But disappointing, not just for the Hornsby women, but also the Terrigal Trojan women and the competition in general.
And the surprise, mate, Lakes get the win over Avoca. I didn't see this coming at all. I know there was an injury that sort of that meant time was stopped a little bit early, but regardless of that, Lakes get the win, 19 points to 7 over Avoca.
Well,
I did not see this coming at all.
But I know. Well, it didn't surprise me.
Yeah, I know it didn't. It never does it?
Well, mate, you just got to go back and listen.
Your
to last
Lakes
week.
girls, yeah, I know. I know.
My Lakes women. Yeah, look. Yeah, in the fair dinkum department, disappointing. And I'll just quickly touch on Lily McDonald hurt herself into the second half, and the game had to be called early, and she was taken to hospital. Actually, we got a message sent in. I will, or if you can find it, that would be great. But we got a message sent in. She's doing okay. She had a slight crack near the growth plate in the left side of her tailbone area, and should heal okay, but just in a lot of pain. So obviously some worrying signs there. Anything to do with the back. But Lily's on the mend, which is great. And by all reports too, Lily's a big fan of the fast acting opioids, is the word getting back to us here at the podcast.
Fentanyl, I believe, is
fentanyl fiend. Oh, Lily McDonald loves it.
Whatever you need to get you through it. So
have a quick recovery.
Exactly.
But not nice news. But prior to that, Lakes dominating.
Yeah,
3 tries to 1.
Yep.
And Avoca Beach were on paper stronger than they were the week before against Gosford. The Terrigal Trojan women. So that's a proper victory by the Lakes women. It's not like they're under strength, they were unlucky. It's a proper victory. They were dominating the game. They were winning at halftime. They were dominating into the second half, and obviously a disappointing injury for Lily, but thankfully she's okay. Saw the game called a little bit early, but the result still stands. 19 points to 7. Lakes women getting the victory. So big congratulations to Lakes, and obviously Avoca Beach will pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and they'll be back again next week.
All right, so the ladder for the women's, so top 4, Terrigal, I'll just go through the games played. Terrigal played 9, same with Avoca. Lakes have played 10, Razorbacks 11, Hornsby 9, Warnervale 8, and Werribee 10, if you caught on to that. Terrigal on top, first place on 45 points. Avoca in second on 35, so a 10-point buffer now between Terrigal and Avoca. Third place is Lakes on 28 points, so Lakes are 7 points behind Avoca. The Razorbacks also on 28 points in 4th spot. In 5th spot, we have Hornsby on 20. So Hornsby are 8 points now off playing finals. Warnervale are on 15 points. Werribee on 1.
Well, you've got the whole second half of the competition to catch up of the Hornsby women and Warnervale to try and push up into that sort of 4th spot and chase the Razorback women. And look, I just want to quickly look at a couple of things when we talk about the ladder. If you could just get the men's ladder up for the moment. Terrigal Trojans last week, heading into this week, they were top of the table.
Yep.
They play when we get on to. I'm getting a little bit excited, a little bit ahead of myself here. But
you're gonna go too early, yeah?
I'm going to go too early. When they play the Razorbacks, if they're to lose, they could potentially go from being top of the table 1 week to 9 points off or 10 points off the lead in the space of a week. How close is that for a competition? And the top 3 sides, depending on how results go, all 3 teams will have only lost 1 game. Except for the Avoca Beach side, they've only had a draw. Yeah.
Undefeated.
But I'm going to touch more on that a little bit later on. Just a little bit of,
Just got word from Hornsby. Unfortunately, we've had a few injuries, and now a few girls have gone overseas. Sadly, the rest of the season will be a little bit tough for the Gnarlers.
That's no good.
That's no good.
No good at all.
See. There's still a lot of, I don't know who they've lost, but there's some quality players for the Gnarlers. Yeah. So hopefully they can sort of still scrape together, but hopefully the forfeits something obviously you want to stop, especially when you don't have a lot of teams in the competition, and there are some buys in there as well, just with the way that it's structured. So hopefully a similar thing to Werribee, in that if there's going to be 8 players, there can be something in which it can be organised with the opposition. All right, let's get into previewing round 11.
We can see how we go, shall we?
Yeah, see how we go.
Let's have a look at the round 11. Is it, Power? Round 11?
It is, mate. Let's start with the women's. First game, Avoca host Warnervale at Walters Park Field, number 1.
That's Bullaroo.
Is it?
Walters Park.
It is, yeah. Well, Avoca are playing. I'm just going into the men's. I'm always Walters Park. Yeah, it is.
And so Avoca Beach are playing Warnervale.
Yep.
At Bullaroo.
Yep.
Okay.
Hosting.
Avoca Beach are hosting.
Yeah.
Well,
hosting Warnervale.
Yeah.
Walters Park.
I tell you, I said it last week. I'm going to say it again. Good opportunity here for Warnervale to knock off the Sharks.
You reckon?
No, I don't.
You're sitting on the fence here. You can't.
They won't.
You're going to tell me next week to go back if Warnervale win and listen to it.
No, I'm telling you right now, Warnervale won't win.
That's all I need to hear.
Avoca Beach will win the match. I don't think it'll go all their way, to be honest. But yeah, Avoca Beach, they got too much. Yeah, they got too much skill around the park. I've mentioned a little bit before, and in no disrespect, the Warnervale women are a little bit one-dimensional in how they play. Having said that, that's probably the best way to beat Avoca at the moment. Is the way that Warnervale bring their game. So I think I'm just starting to climb the fence a little bit here. I think the Warnervale women have got the game to knock off the Sharks. I really do. Whether they've got it for 80 minutes, that's the question. They've certainly got enough to worry.
Or at least 20.
Yeah, they've got enough to really bother the Sharks. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But do they have it consistently? And are they going to be able to shut them out in the wider channels? I don't think they do. And that's where Avoca Beach will win the matches, through those wider channels.
Yeah, Avoca for me.
Yeah.
Still, they've had 2 tough losses. I can't see them. I know they got troops out, but I think those troops, or hopefully those troops for them, will be back. I just think there's too much class there. Too much. Second game, Terrigal hosting the Razorbacks at the Haven. This will be an interesting game.
Yeah, it will be. I feel sorry for the Razorbacks here, because they're going to come up against a Trojan women's side itching to play some rugby, and they've had a week off, unplanned week. Give the body a little bit of opportunity to get over those niggles, and I think it's a good opportunity for the Razorback women to find out where they are. Yep. There's absolutely no doubt in this competition that the Terrigal Trojan women are the benchmark. There's no question about that. And so this will be a really good chance for, regardless of the result, for the Razorbacks to go, okay, we need to do some work in this area or that area. I see the Trojan women winning. I think Terrigal will win. They'll be too clinical and they'll be too measured across the park. But I see it as a really exciting opportunity for the Razorbacks to become a better rugby side because of this game, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they've caught them at a bad time, because they've, fresh off a win against the Voca, obviously had the week off. There'd be a lot of excitement around the club as well in the men's, coming up with how exciting that game will be. So I think there'll be a really big buzz around the club. So I think this will be a big win for the Trojans.
Be good to see. I might try and get myself down there and check it out.
Woiwoi with the bye. Lakes host Hornsby at Slade Park.
Do they?
They do. Well, hopefully
will they? They'll try.
Let's hope they will.
Well, look, yeah, let's hope so. And in light of Hornsby getting back to us, thank you, ladies. But obviously going to be very tough. And Lakes women will be singing after knocking off Avoca last week.
Yep.
And they're at home. Yeah, look out, Nalas. It's going to be a tough day in the office. Lakes women for me.
Yep, I'm with you on that one. And hopefully, if there is a chance of last weekend repeating as well, that there's something organised, and hopefully we can get some game time.
Yeah, absolutely. Get up there, even if it's sevens.
Yeah, exactly. The competition moving forward, I think it's really important for those players.
But also think of it as a development for the women who are there. Definitely. You still learn from playing, and you still learn from, copping a bit of a flogging from time to time if that's the case. But it's about developing not just this year, but next year and
Yeah.
the year after that. So if you've got a young player who's, early 20s, late teens or whatever, you can be looking into them becoming an outstanding rugby player in 2-3 years' time and putting in those processes and laying that platform of knowledge at the moment. So,
but it's also about going there and enjoying that day of rugby, because you'll go home and you'll tell that, the person will be like, how was rugby today? Yeah, we got flogged, but this is, or, maybe you didn't get flogged. Maybe it was a tough game.
Yeah.
And sometimes those close losses, or even if you do a lot better than what you expected, that buoys you a little bit for the following week. And that's when you try and bring that friend down. And that's when the club starts to grow as well. So I think the forfeit, doesn't do anybody any favors.
Absolutely not.
I think it's if you can play a game, get the game together. Over to the men's. We'll start from the bottom and work the way up. Warnervale have the bye, first of all. Lakes host Hornsby.
Geez, a good game.
Cracker. So this is 6th versus 7th. Hornsby on 14 points. Lakes on 12 points.
I think this could be close to the match of the round. I know we've got some bigger games to come in regards to position on the ladder. When it comes to competitiveness, this is a really important match. Really important for both sides to try and get some points up to start challenging for that sort of 5th, 6th position.
Can I just say here?
Yeah.
If this is correct, Adam Perring, who's the manager for Hornsby, already has their team in. I've just went to look it up, and they've already got 1 to 15. No, they're missing a winger, but their team's already in there. That is outstanding stuff. If that's correct, if you had put it in for the wrong week, though, which I surely suspect, given we're recording on Monday, that's poor form.
They're just very organised.
Yeah, very organised.
Very organised. The Hornsby Lions. I'm gonna back Lakes here.
Yep, I'm with you on that. I think the Lakes. I think had a good showing against the Voca last week. Yep. It's a very team that's on top of the table and undefeated. They're at home. Hornsby got to travel.
I think they've got to win too. You know what I mean? Like, I know Hornsby's got to win just as badly. But there's no excuses. No excuses for the Lakes. They just got to get the job done.
Who do you think's more of a threat towards the top 5? Do you think it's Lakes, or do you think?
I think the Lakes is unpredictability.
Yeah.
In a little bit like rocks or diamonds.
Yep.
They could show up and just run through you and really catch you by surprise. Where I think the Hornsby side, you're up for a little bit more of a graft and grind.
Yep.
I think the Lakes, you could probably, you're probably more of a chance of sort of getting beyond them, quicker. Where if you allow Hornsby into the match, I think they'll always be scrapping in there or thereabouts. So if you don't put Hornsby away, Hornsby are going to be competing against you the whole time. But I think you might be able to get past Lakes a little bit easier.
Yep.
But I would certainly, if I was coaching, I would probably rather coach against, say, a Hornsby side than Lakes in a sort of do or die match for both clubs, if that makes sense.
Yep, I'm with you. Lake Macquarie host of Voca. Walters Park Field 1.
Well, statistically, the Lake Macquarie side have been improving like no other team in the competition. They're statistically the best improvers. We know that, and we laud them for that. That'll all amount to absolutely nothing on Saturday, because that statistical improvement will go out the window and they will cop a flogging from the Voca Beach side.
I can't agree with you more. I think Evoca too much firepower on this one.
They're top of the comp. They're undefeated, and they've got a determination about them this year that I haven't seen for quite some time from that club. And I think there's no doubt, whilst we sort of muck about a little bit and have a bit of fun with Lake Macquarie, there's no doubt Lake Macquarie are on the improve. There's no doubt about that at all. But that the improvement's not enough to beat the best side in the comp, or the team on top of the competition at the moment.
Yep. Next game, Woy Woy host Gosford.
I'm really worried for Woy Woy. This will be a better game for them to try and sort their club out, and they're hosting, so that's going to be even better for them. But the Red Devils, for mine, there's worrying signs at the Woolworth Club. Last week, second grade 70-0, first grade 120-0. Probably the same players. It's not looking good for Woolworth at the moment. So Red Devils for me, and a good opportunity for Red Devils to work on their for and against.
Yep, I agree with you on that one. I think being at home, I think it's Old Boys Day down there as well.
Yeah, okay.
So maybe you'll get a couple that have come out of the woodwork to help bolster those numbers. But I think Gosford's still going to be too strong.
Well, that'd be great to bolster numbers. It won't be any good to sustainability.
True, exactly. I think that's what they've got to work on. You've always, as I said earlier, you've always just got to have that foundation. And unfortunately, with their foundation of players, doesn't necessarily bring skill. It doesn't bring points on the board. So I think it'll be a convincing victory to the Red Devils on that one. Last game, mate. Match of the round. Could be 1 versus 2, but it's 2 versus 3. But that doesn't have any less importance. It is Terrigal hosting the Razorbacks. So remember this game last time, Terrigal absolutely blew the Razorbacks off the park.
And was said to me the best performance of a Terrigal Trojan side in over 20 years. It was someone who's seen a lot of rugby said that to me.
And Terrigal coming off a loss as well.
Yeah, off a loss.
Bye, but a loss before that against the Voca.
And the Razorbacks playing some good rugby, coming off obviously a massive win, gives you a lot of confidence, does your for and against good. The coaching staff of the Razorbacks will have undoubtedly done their homework in regards to what went wrong against Terrigal in the first half of the season. Obviously, the injury to Rob Peaton was didn't do him any favours. I think this is going to be an absolute cracker, a really, really good match. And weather-wise, it's supposed to rain, supposed to get it pretty ugly leading up to Saturday. And I think the Razorbacks will be doing a bit of a rain dance because I think the wet weather brings them closer in. I think it brings them closer into the match. And what I mean by that is,
do you reckon?
Yeah, I still do. I think they play a tighter, say 1 to 12 game than Terrigal do. Terrigal would like to play a bit of a wider game. They're lighter in the forward packs, and they're also more mobile in the forward pack. Now, when you're lighter and mobile, then obviously you want to play a little bit more of an expansive game.
Yep.
And so when you've got a lighter, more mobile pack, playing in a tighter game where your movement for contact's a little bit shorter, substantially shorter depending on the conditions, then it works in the favour of your heavier packs that don't need to move around as much, and it can be quite draining for a lighter pack to play in heavier weather and sort of heavier ground. So it suits your heavier forward packs, and which is what the Razorbacks have. I'm not saying Terrigal aren't good enough by any stretch of the means, but what I'm saying is the wetter the conditions, the better it will be for the Razorbacks, in my opinion.
Let's look at the forecast, and so far it says no rain, but it looks like the rain is coming on Sunday. But when I looked, there was no rain at all. So I think the rain's starting to creep in. Bloody cold though, 16 degrees.
Ooh, but cold weather. The Razorbacks will love that. Gets a bloody -2 degrees at the pig pen on a Tuesday and Thursday night.
We say the Razorbacks are flying under the radar, right? So they're the buy-in round 7. From there, 20-all draw with Avoca, 35-27 win over the Wildcats, and then 120-0 win over Webuy.
Yeah.
So Razorbacks are humming.
Yeah, they're playing some really good rugby. I think it's a game that I just think it's going to be cracker. I think Terrigal should win it. I think they need to win it, but I'm not convinced they will. And what I mean by that is they were a little bit just going through the motions at the Avoca game. And whilst it's I have absolutely no doubt that Michael Farrelly, the Trojan coach, will have worked hard and extremely hard on their shortcomings at the Avoca Beach game. But there are opportunities lost and opportunities wasted against the vocal, which is very unterrigal-like. And if that's not addressed quick smart, then I see the Razorbacks knocking them off.
I'm going Razorbacks on this one.
Yeah.
I think the Razorbacks are going to get the win.
I think it's
I think their back row is just so good. I think, and that, I think obviously Ethan's still out as well. You really need those big game players. Terrigal's still stacked with them, don't get me wrong, but I think you need those big game players, and weather might be a factor if obviously the rain does come into it, but they've just got such a hard working forward pack as well. I think they've got key people in the back line now that, I see them getting the win here at the Haven, which is very, very difficult to do.
Yeah,
It doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
I think they've gone under the radar for so long, and obviously the only really half of footy that they've been dominated in so far has been against the Trojans, and I think they won't want a repeat of that. I think that that all-star back row will be firing.
I'll go the Trojans.
You go the Trojans? We all knew you were going to the Trojans, man.
Al, it's time for...
Wait, go again. You talked a bit too quick. I think it'll cut the first part off.
Trust me, because our listeners have got to listen to about 10 seconds of silence waiting for you to time yourself in.
Okay, fair enough.
So we'll just see how this one goes, shall we?
No worries.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, before I was rudely interrupted by Berner and his incompetence when it comes to technology and audio, it's time for our exquisite exterior cleanup of the week. Going to get its own segment today, and the reason for that is it's not going to go to a team, Berner.
It's not?
No.
Okay.
Not giving it to a team.
Well, this is special because I think part of the contractual agreement, if we get to that, was that it was meant to go to a team.
Well, I'm breaking the contract.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to break the contract by about 15%, and that's the same discount you can get by mentioning the podcast.
You can.
When you employ the services of Carl from Exquisite Exterior Cleaning.
Yep.
So I'm not going to give it to a team. I'm going to give it to 3 teams who belong to the same club.
Okay.
I'm going to give it to the Woowoi women, the Woowoi Premier 2 side, and the Woowoi first grade side. Collectively, they put their hands together and conceded 257 points over the weekend and did not score one. So
that's pretty impressive. That's actually harder to do.
So a big congratulations to the Woowoi Rugby Club winning the exterior cleanup of the week.
Yep.
For
exquisite exterior cleanup of the week. You are shocking. The exquisite exterior cleanup of the week.
That too goes to Woowoi for 257 points to zip.
Yeah.
So there we go. And that's fair income too, people. If you would like to get some exquisite exterior cleaning done, your business, your house, your roof, your gutters, all that sort of stuff, get a hold of Carl from Exquisite Exterior Cleaning and mention that you're getting it from the podcast, and he'll give you 15% off. So good value.
Absolutely awesome, mate. And thank you very much, Carl, obviously, for jumping on board. And it's people like Carl that make the podcast very special and allow us to actually do it.
It's people like Carl who are responsible for this.
Thanks, Carl.
What do you want to do now, pal?
I don't know. I don't think do we have anything else? I think we're pretty well sorted. Actually, I do want to give. Have you got something?
Yeah, I got an axe. I got a garage.
Oh, that's right. Can I get it? Actually, no.
No, you do. You do what you
got. I'm going positive. So maybe we.
Oh, mine's positive. Mine's positive.
In about 2-3 minutes, it will start to not become positive. Right?
No.
You go for it.
It's very simple. All right.
The floor is yours.
Just want to talk about the competition, the ladder, and the buy rounds. Okay, buy rounds are very important, and they very important for community sport as well. Allow amateur players to rest up, go away, take the family away, whatever the case may be. But what concerns me about it at the moment is we don't have any points allocated to the buy. Now, what's the problem with that? I hear you say, Berner. The problem with that is we don't have enough rain makeup weekends. And so what the fallback and default setting is, we'll share the points. What happens when you share the points is the team that has the bye is absolutely categorically disadvantaged. So let's just look at an example in first grade, you've got 2 teams with 1 point difference.
Yep.
Let's look at the women's side. You've got 2 teams on the same amount of points.
Yep.
Now, let's imagine that the same amount of points. Perfect example. That's third and fourth.
Yep.
So what happens then is the team that comes 5th. So the team coming 4th has the bye round.
Yep.
Teams coming 5th, we get a washout, and we don't have enough round. We can't make it up. So let's share the points.
Yep.
So the team coming 5th gets an automatic 2 points. The team coming 4th doesn't get anything because they got the bye. So the team coming 5th will automatically jump the team coming 4th, even though they didn't play. Now that team coming 5th might have been playing the Trojan women, for example.
Yeah.
So happy days, I'll take 2 points every day of the week. The bye has to be allocated points.
How many points?
It doesn't matter. It's the same. So 4 points.
Yep.
Right?
So a win.
So what happens is when the points are shared, everyone gets 2 points.
Yep.
And everyone stays the same. The alternative to that is they abandon the round. Does that make sense? So no one gets points.
Aren't you still cheering if you're...
Well, the game's it's just taken off the calendar.
Yeah, okay.
So the bye has to be allocated points because we have make-up rounds in there, right?
Yep.
The problem with abandoning the rounds is obviously when first is playing last or a team that's playing it, they should win. That's not ideal, but we purposely have bye rounds to allow for wash-up games. But that doesn't mean anything if the byes have no points allocated to them. So I would hate to see, as we're heading into this back half of the season, and we're going to get some weather coming our way, and we don't have any make-up spare rounds up our sleeves, knowing how tight it is for that sort of 4th and 5th position in Premier 1 and how tight it is for the 3rd, 4th and positions in the women's, there's plenty of examples in Premier 2 and
1, 2, 3 in Premier 1 as well.
Yeah, so the teams can potentially miss out on a minor premiership if they have the bye round and points are shared. Teams can potentially miss out on playing the semi-finals, major semi-finals. The implications are enormous if we just share the points. And it's something that still hasn't been addressed, to my knowledge anyway. And I'm just concerned that it's going to knock a team out that have worked. Like, let's just really good example of the Razorbacks. Yeah. They've worked their freaking butt off in the women's competition. They're playing outstanding rugby. What a travesty it will be if they miss out on the semi-finals because of an administrative fix, if that makes sense. So there's my axe. I'm going to grind it, just ground it.
That was a bit positive. I don't think it was too bad, that one.
I don't want to see teams working their butts off to make the semi-finals miss out because of something you can do and fix with an administrative process, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Anyway, there's my axe. I've ground it because I'm a little bit worried that we're going to get wet weather this week. And I have to have a look at the draw, but I'm worried that we're not going to have a chance to make up those games. Yeah. Because remember, it's the start of the season. We're supposed to start 4 weeks earlier, and they got pushed back 4 weeks.
Yeah, I can't remember why.
Anyway, there we go.
I'm with you. On to the positives, mate. Well, that wasn't too negative, actually.
No, it's just anyway.
Yeah. On to the positives. I do want to. I know we are banging on about this all the time, but I just want to give Central Coast Rugby a shout out. And we're talking about this before the podcast, before we started recording this. But what Central Coast Rugby are currently doing, I've just never seen, like, on so many fronts. The first thing is obviously we got some clubs that are struggling, and they are giving those clubs every opportunity and every bit of support to make it, to get themselves off the ground, whether it's getting late Macquarie into the competition or, and whether it's, with Woy, whether it's with the Hornsby might be struggling now and the girls, whatever it is. Central Coast Rugby are allowing it, and that can obviously go two ways. It can go that, well, they're allowing it too much. Now the competition turns to shit because there's so many forfeits all the time.
Lowering the bar.
Yeah, which you definitely don't want. But I think they've found that with what they've put in place and on clubs. And obviously, everyone wants to see the competition doing well. And that I suppose that what people are valuing is around building each other up in the clubs,
Yeah,
which has been really important. So that's one front. The other one is just what they're doing in terms of promoting the game. Lenny, I can't give enough love to on this podcast with what he does from the socials perspective. But like,
fuck him. I might detract a bit of love from him. I don't like seeing anyone getting too much love.
But what he does for
I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna find out what game he's got this week. I'm just gonna go to that game and hang shit on him from the sideline
the whole time.
All about administrative issues, nothing to do about his refereeing performance.
Nothing at all. Bring everything up.
Your Instagram shit, mate.
Your tile shit. You had a typo.
Pick your Facebook up, pal.
We started this because we wanted to promote players and promote competitions. And you look at what he's doing. It's not just isolating a player. Like, the content he's putting out there looks amazing.
It's so good, eh? It's so good.
It's professional content that he's actually he's putting out there every single week. And I think that's what we wanted in the game, and that makes you feel special as a player as well when you're featured in that, when people share it. And we know when we post something up about a player, like, we can see who's sharing it and stuff. And obviously people are buying into it and they absolutely love it. So I think what they're doing to put Central Coast Rugby in the best position possible, that this is a really good product to play now.
Yeah.
In terms of the administration doing everything they possibly can to make this something that you want to go play, make it a game you want to play, make it a competition that you want to be part of.
I was chatting to a local rugby league identity, and he came down to the Avoca Beach Terrigal game because of obviously the spectacle that it was. And it's not real often that league players lower themselves, or not league players. It's a huge generalisation. It's not too often that another code will allow a positive rap to the rival code, if you will.
Yeah. And
yet he spoke about, mate, how good's the comp going, and how good, everyone there at the crowd and the game, and that's all come about and fed through exactly what you're saying with the awesome work they're doing with the socials, because you're getting people just following community sport now.
Yeah.
And when you only have sort of half an interest, and that interest is engaged further through the social media, then you get down there and watch a game, don't you? And it's all about that online marketing that they're doing, which is fantastic.
It becomes a product you really want to go and watch. Just even the whole day, the atmosphere down at the game. You're not going there, and I've said before, like, if you go down to a game, and I went to unfortunately went to an all-age game 8 or something like that of soccer a couple of weeks ago just to watch family member play. And it was just such an unpleasant experience. Obviously watching soccer first of all, but just being on that sideline of just like the shit they're yelling out at referees and players and stuff. And you got someone who just like having a game of soccer with their son. You got like a referee who clearly doesn't want to be there at all. And they're just getting by with community sport. I'm like, and it was shocking. Yeah. It really was. I'm like, this is just so shit.
Yeah,
like I just didn't enjoy it at all, other than, watching a family member. That was it. As opposed to rugby, and, there's a couple of 1% of people who are dickheads, obviously, that we're trying to iron out a little bit. But you go there and it's such a good day. Like everyone who's around the canteen, there's a buzz about it. You see the opposition talking to each other before the games and after the games, all that sort of stuff. You don't see that at any of these other places, and that's what makes the game so special. And Central Coast Rugby are doing an awesome job at the moment to promote that, but also to capture it, to share those things around and really highlight all our players are doing anything to do with representative duties. We had Mitch McGrath and Matt Martin, who played a representative game as well.
Yeah, Australian Barbarians.
Yeah, so they're promoting that. They've made something to push it out and say, here's what our players are doing. Yeah, that is something that is absolutely awesome. So again, hats off to Lenny and the administration for everything that Central Coast Rugby Competition are doing. We weren't glowing once upon a time, about it. And we really felt like they weren't pushing the game as much, but that's been completely flipped on its head.
So now it's up to the community clubs to do their heavy lifting and trying to attract the players, like I know a lot of clubs are and a lot of clubs are doing. But we're all in it together, eh?
Exactly. Is that it, mate?
Yeah, I think so.
Good episode.
Wow.
See ya!
Hang on before you go. Shit, is it too late? Can someone check on Lily McDonald and keep the fentanyl away from her, please?
Or Lily's also written in and said, please ignore Barthy and give more fentanyl. Be greatly appreciated.
Hope you heal soon, Lily. Take it easy.
All right. See you at the game this weekend. See ya.